Welcome to our Mind the Moments Thursday morning gathering, brought to you by Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Tufts Health Plan. And this is a place where we invite experienced mindfulness instructors to speak with us about what mindfulness means to them and to discuss as a community how we can incorporate these practices into our daily lives and, of course, practice meditation. I'm Suzanne Rowe Palacino, and I'm so happy to be here this morning, as usual, with Tara Healey, founder and director of Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare's mindfulness program. Good morning, Tara.
Good morning, Suzanne, and good morning, everyone. Really nice to see you all here.
Welcome to anybody that's new this morning. We're really especially happy to have you here. And today, Tara will start us off with a question, and then she will share some thoughts and then go right into mindfulness meditation practice. And we'll practice for about 12 minutes. So we'll begin with a question, Tara. What did you want to ask our group this morning?
Really kind of going back to basics, when we first started doing these, we would just do like a simple check-in. So how are you feeling this morning? And I thought it would be nice just to go back to that. If you could capture in a word or a phrase, how do you feel right now? How did your day start? What was kind of the attitude in the mind when you woke up? And so as you're taking some time to think about that, Suzanne, could you share with us?
Yeah. I was very tired this morning. I just was tired, but I had also opened up my window and I was listening to the rain, and it was hard for me to get up. But I also was, as I was getting myself up, I was grateful to get up and do what I'm doing and see you all here this morning. So that was my feelings, a little mixture of tired and grateful.
Yeah, nice.
How about you, Tara?
Well, I woke up a little bit worried because I get water in the basement, and I just recently had a French drain put in the driveway, and I had a dry basement, so that was really good.
Yeah.
And I think, I know we need the rain. And I enjoyed yesterday afternoon so much. I mean, it was like dry and sunny and the pollen level was low and it just felt really good. And I could find myself like wishing we had that today. So, wishing things were other than they were a little bit, I guess is how I felt.
Yeah, how natural it is, huh?
Yeah. Let's see, what do we have?
Lots of good comments. Anxious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good that you're here this morning.
Yeah.
To work with that. Enjoying the relaxed energy of the rain. I'm so with you on that.
Yes.
The rain, refreshing, exhausted. It's been a very long work week. Yeah.
I think there's also, something about the rain that encourages rest. And it is really peaceful just to take in the sound. Once I knew my basement wasn't flooding, I felt a little bit of relief and could more enjoy it.
Yeah, I completely agree that it encourages us to kind of say, okay, it's not beautiful and sunny out, so we could actually get some things done inside or just not rush around. But
so let's go ahead and we'll start practice, and we'll do about 12 minutes. And we'll save time, of course, just to kind of dialogue back and forth a bit or Q&A. And I'll take us through a body scan as a way to settle, and then we'll land on an anchor. And that anchor for our attention could be breath sensation, really anywhere in the body that you feel the inhalation and the exhalation where it's most pronounced. But you could do other things too. So if breath does not feel that accessible for you, you could use sound either in the room that you're in or outside the room. It could be rain. So you can absolutely just do a wide angle lens of awareness and receive the sound.
And just as a reminder for folks that are new, what Tara's mentioning in the anchor is if your thoughts, if you have a busy mind, that's the anchor is what can bring you back to the present moment. So
yeah, and to also to add to what Suzanne just said too, that a busy mind is the nature of all of our minds. And when we remove all the things we're distracted by in life and we do these practices, we really notice it. And the idea is not to stop thought. It's simply that you're not going to entertain the narrative in the head, whether it's memory or planning. As soon as you see that it's arisen, you can just label thinking or be more specific. You could say, planning or regretting or, whatever, wherever the mind went, soften the body and then return to your anchor. So it's not about stopping thought. And I feel like that bears repeating probably every single time. We're not trying to have a clear Zen-like mind. That's a misconception. We're just seeing that when we've gone into thought and we recognize it, that's actually a significant moment of being aware and awake, and you know where your attention is, and you label thinking, soften the body, return to your anchor. And that's just over and over again. And that helps steady or calibrate attention, which then it allows mindfulness to work best. All right, so let's go ahead and settle in to a seated or a standing posture, and eyes open or closed. If you decide to keep them open, you want to just gaze downward a little bit to help remove peripheral distraction. And go ahead on your own, take a couple deep breaths and make that exhalation a little bit longer than the inhalation, but the deep breaths as a way to settle any surface tension from your activity so far today. And on that last exhalation, see if you can surrender your weight into the support of the surface and ultimately into the support of the earth, allowing the shoulders to drop and relax, yet maintain a spine that is straight but not stiff. So you're holding your body in a way that is upright and engaged. And just notice how the body feels from your activity so far today. So aware of pulsing or vibration or the heartbeat, perhaps temperature, but wide angle lens of attention over your whole body, just kind of noticing what's happening, just receiving the experience that the body is offering. And I'm going to take us through various regions of the body, kind of a sweep of awareness, starting at the very top of the head and bringing awareness down over the sides of the head and the back of the head. And you're just noticing sensation or lack of sensation. And bringing awareness to the face, so the forehead and the eyes, the nose, mouth and jaw. Softening to the degree that you can and noticing sensation. And bringing awareness down over the neck. So the front and the sides and the back. Noticing sensation or lack of sensation. And moving down to the shoulders, both the left and the right. The upper arms, the forearms, and the hands. Isolating this part of the body in your field of awareness, just noticing sensation or lack of sensation and softening to the degree that you can. And bringing awareness to the torso. So the front of the body, the back of the body, internally. What are you aware of? Receiving sensation, aware of sensation, or lack of sensation. And moving awareness down over the hips and thighs, perhaps aware of the points of contact with the back of the body and the surface, aware of other sensation or even lack of. And moving awareness down over the knees, the lower legs, and the feet. So the top of the feet, the soles of the feet, the heels, the toes, softening and receiving sensation or noticing lack of. And coming back to whole body awareness and noticing sensation. Again, it could be points of contact. And let's expand awareness to include sound in the room that you're in, or perhaps outside of the room. And all of this with a receptive, curious attitude. And now landing on an anchor. So finding something that you can return to over and over again each time the mind wanders. Kind of like lifting weights against the resistance of the weight. You do repetitions. In this practice, the weight could be the thinking mind. And we're just coming back over and over again each time we notice. So you could use sound as your anchor today, which is a wider angle lens of awareness. Or you could use a point of contact with the body and the surface that you're on. You could use breath sensation. So when you breathe in and breathe out, where in the body do you feel that? Where is it most prominent? And so finding what's going to work best for you. And I will be silent for the next 2 or 3 minutes. Noticing where the mind is, gently releasing thought, softening the body, and returning to your anchor. And as we bring this meditation to a close, may we be peaceful and at ease. May our heart be soft and open. May we be safe and protected, and our bodies healthy and strong. And may we wish the same for all of those known and unknown to us. And as you feel ready, if your eyes were closed, go ahead and open. And sometimes it's helpful to take a minute just to reorient by looking around, take in your surroundings, maybe do a little bit of a stretch. And yeah, would love to hear from anybody who wants to just offer a few of their thoughts about how the practice was, or if there's anything about what Suzanne and I were talking about with an anchor, and also this idea of we're not trying to stop thought, we're just not entertaining the narratives that kind of creep in. Because thoughts do slip in unnoticed. It's not like we plan, okay, I'm going to start thinking about what's for dinner tonight. I mean, sometimes we do, but oftentimes, memories or things just slip in unnoticed and tend to have control over us. But as soon as they're noticed, then there's something we can do with them. And it also kind of weakens their power a little bit. So especially when we're in formal practice, the mind's going to go into thought a lot, past and future. That's just normal. As soon as we see it, that's a key moment to say, thinking, not now, because we're practicing. Release the thought, feel how it showed up in your body. Usually there's a subtle contraction, so just soften the body, and then return to breath sensation or sound or another point of connection that you're using.
Teresa's asking, is it ever acceptable to focus on an affirmation like be strong or let it go? Or is that a totally different kind of meditation or mindfulness?
I would say that it's fine to drop those phrases in, but that's not what you would use for an anchor for your attention. Um, there are mantra-based meditations, and that seems like it would fall more in that category. Um, and in mindfulness practice, what we're doing is we're really, through the formal meditation, we're learning to uh, settle and sort of stabilize, calibrate attention, because this capacity to see clearly, to be awake and aware, it just works better when the mind is less jumbled. So, I'm not opposed to phrases, but I think about it as in a slightly different category. I think a lot of these practices are trial and error, and I think you could see if that's helping to stabilize your attention, because that's really what we're trying to do. And we're also trying to see what's on our mind, to see what we push away and what we grasp or lean into.
Teresa, I have used those types of phrases. Like when I first started meditating, I was meditating with someone that was of a particular practice where that was used. And I agree with Tara. If it's something that's supporting your practice, I think it's worthwhile. I used to say, as I was breathing in, clear mind, and then don't know on the outside, which was,
Mhm. Yeah, it's
is
worth
a
experimenting with. I mean, in some ways it kind of borders on, the metta or loving kindness practice, where you're offering yourself phrases and kind of, intentions for yourself. So I absolutely think that there's a place for it. And with this practice, it is always like a bit of trial and error,
Mm.
just seeing, what is working. I mean, you could, Teresa, even one way to think about it is you could combine the phrases toward the end of your practice as a way to close, as um, make these kind of intentions or wishes for yourself. So there's a place for it.
Yeah, and to add to what Tara said, one other thing about the thoughts is not judging yourself. If you have a particular time when you're sitting where your mind is all over the place and where you really have almost very little or no feeling where you're not thinking,
Right.
that tells me how important it was that you sat to begin with, where
Yes.
you really needed just some time to notice what your body or what your mind is needing,
Mhm.
and how your thoughts are there to protect you. I've always liked thinking that it's not to drive you crazy. It's their
Right.
thoughts because that's the way a mind works, and they're there to protect you. And if they're there and happening, then that's just the way it is. And
Mhm. Yeah.
every time will be different, you know.
Yeah, every time is different. Yeah, I know I've said this, but it probably bears repeating. Is there was a point in my practice where I felt like I was walking around with this sort of secret that I was like, oh my gosh, this is what everyone's mind does. It's not just me. Everyone has a mind that does this, yet I think there is a tendency to feel as if, I mean, a common thing people would say to me early on at work was, oh, I can't do that because I can't shut this off, as if they were somehow unique in that. But really, what we're doing here is learning about the nature of mind. Our content is going to be different than our neighbors because our stories are different, but we're learning about the nature of the mind, and to think, to plan, to analyze, to judge, and to really see like what should we believe and what not to believe. We don't have to always believe our thoughts.
Tara, I'm grateful that you've gone back to these basics, which, like you said, you can't really discuss these too many times because there's so many nuances.
Yes, it's such a subtle practice. It is such a subtle practice.
Mhm.
And to, be gentle with yourself. This is this is not easy. It's not easy. And so I'm just grateful that so many of you show up and that we're all doing this together. It contributes to a more peaceful, wise planet.
Okay, thank you, Tara. Thanks
Yeah,
for being here.
thank you, Suzanne, and thank you, everyone.